I'm painting a raven. Wouldn't you like to watch? Sure you would. This is oil on panel, and I'm working on a cloudy background that I painted a couple of years ago, and I finally decided who I wanted to paint in the foreground. She is a common raven, so called because they are found all over the world. This particular gal was found in Squim Game Park, where I photographed her in Washington State. You can see I have my iPad for my photo reference to the left-hand side, and I am outlining her using Indian yellow with my liner brush. I'm freehanding the drawing here, so one of the nice things about oil paint is that you can wipe it off and correct your line if you get it wrong. If you wonder what's going on in the background there, I was painting this live at an event that was at a local gallery. And those are customers and other artists that are wandering around behind my easel. Once I got the outlines down, the rest of this painting session I focused on shades of gray and white. That is, I didn't mix up any colors other than white, black, and shades of gray. Later on you'll see how I add some color, but here I just wanted to get the underpainting in. If I recall, I had about 5 or 6 different shades of black, white, and gray on my palette, and I just kept looking at my photo reference to see first where all the darkest areas were, and then the next lightest, and so on and so forth. I'm just looking back and forth. I wipe off my brush in between shade changes and applying where I saw that particular color that was on my brush. And because the oil paint, I'm painting it on fairly thin, I'm making sure that for the most part I'm dragging the brush in the direction that the feathers go. Just in case you can see the streaks and texture in the final painting, they'll be going in the feather direction. I'm switching back and forth between a few different brushes here. I have a round brush, and I have this cat tongue brush. You can see the tip of it here. It's kind of round but then pointy at the end. Here I'm doing lines around the eyes, so I'm using my liner brush. With more and more practice, you just kind of get a feel about which brush is going to have the kind of control that you need for the area that you're working in. Now you'll see as I'm working here that yellow is still wet, and it kind of blends in with some of the colors that I'm putting in. And that's okay with me. I don't mind if there's a little bit of yellow left over. It's a nice yellow. It can live there if it wants. Anyway, I'm going to let you watch for a little while here, and I'll come back on with a voiceover if I have something new to say. By the way, I apologize that this is not fully in focus. I just found out that my phone can record in 4K, so in the future, it'll look a lot better. Bird beaks are really cool, by the way. They're a lot more complex than you would think at first. And as the bird gets older, that beak's going to get lots of dents and dings and scuffs and cracks. So pay attention to those if you're painting birds. Here I'm putting down a flat medium gray base color for her body, and I'll come back and do the details later. Sometimes you'll see the black go down very black, and sometimes you'll see that it mixed with the gray underneath it. And the biggest factor in what happens there is how hard I push down with the brush and how much I kind of squish the paints together as I move the brush around. Just another way that a painter can exert control over her oil paint. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, well, she doesn't look very dark for a black bird, well, you're right. Very soon I am going to be coming in with some deep jewel tones over the top of this underpainting. And 3, 2, 1. In this final painting session, I am using what are called glazes over the underpainting. These are much thinned down oil paints. I'm using a medium from Gamblin called Neo McGilp. I mix it in with my oil paint and it makes it very translucent. It also happens to make it dry a lot faster than straight oil paint. I'm trying to create the effect of iridescence throughout this beautiful raven, so I'm using ultramarine violet, ultramarine blue, phthalo green in various areas around her to just show the light bouncing around and how shiny and iridescent her feathers are. I'm exaggerating all the colors for a certain effect. Oh hey, there's some cerulean blue too. And there's the green. Now what I'm doing is using a clean, dry brush to lift some of the color off of the brightest highlights. And here she is. I'm so glad you joined me today. Please enjoy this other painting process video.